Hello, video number 3. So once again, my name is Marshall, the guy with the blue hair. And my daughter was just saying that it's not actually blue in the back, it's one brown and silver. And I kind of said, that's fine. You're the one that did it, so you're the one that's fixing it. It's all well and good. I just wanted to bring up a couple of things. And once again, like I say, I want to have of 5 videos a week if I can, maybe more. Eventually, I'm going to have enough subject matter to make these things actually worthwhile watching, but until then, there are a few things and a few points that I want to bring up because of the fact that it's a one-way conversation. I'm talking to myself here. I have notations and things that I want to discuss, and it's harder to have those, like when the YouTubers are just sort of discussing the things that are on their mind. They're generally not bouncing their ideas off of people and getting response and the reverberation of somebody else's input, somebody else's opinion. And it's easier to have a conversation when there's two sides. Since I don't have two sides, I have one side, and I try to take as much of the information that I've derived from studying this sort of stuff and looking into this stuff. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not educated at all in macro or microeconomics, the large or the small. I'm just a guy who has owned a couple places and sold and waiting to purchase another. Now, in doing that, I've looked at the market out there right now, and I cannot justify the amounts that they're asking. My ultimate goal would be to buy a piece of land and to build one or two houses on that piece of land, and to give my children the option of building houses on that land so they always have somewhere that they can call home. I have 6 biological children and 2 stepchildren. I love them all, I care for them all, and I'd like them all to do really, really well. There are 2 things I tell them. One, if you can, get a trade so you always have something to fall back on. 2, do what you love. So my daughter is right into art and creating things, and she's finally talking about selling her art in print because she does some fantastic art. She can make prints, she can sell them, probably make more money than me. But I'm trying to lead by example. So like I say with my website, when I created this website, I said I wanted to put out all the things I've been creating for years and years and years. No, I didn't want to. Well, I wanted to try and publish traditionally, but as we go through a generational switch here, the younger generation and the generation 10 years ahead of that, they'll buy books, but they generally spend a lot more time listening to books because they're usually busy or on the go. And like I say, when I go to work, I think I brought this up last time, when I go to work, it takes me about half an hour to get anywhere. So when I go to work, it takes me about half an hour. So I usually listen to a podcast. I listen to, there are some people I listen to, like Peter Schiff, and Lynette Zhang and Mark Moss and a few other people that are financial, they're in the financial field, investing in stock market traders and all this other stuff, Jim Rickards, and they have reputations in those fields, so it's good to listen to them from their diverse opinions from the different sides. Generally capitalists, and in that vein, because capitalism. Oh, now I got a cat sitting on my back. She's looking for Popularity. Popular. Bye, kitty. So anyways, what I think is that if I can get a diverse um, um, sense of opinions out there of all these different sides, then I can at least have an educated guess at what I and my family need to do. Now, there was one thing I wanted to bring up, and it's probably not going to make the cryptocurrency people overly happy, but just to back up my side of it, I want to say that I have invested in cryptocurrency, but the way I did it was I looked at all the factors behind what makes cryptocurrencies valuable. They're speculative, but they're also, in a sense, with decentralized finance and the staking, instead of proof of work, you have proof of stake. So those are the best way to make some sort of profit. If you can stake and make a return on investment, some interest back from people loaning the crypto that you have staked, then what happens is you buy the coins, you leave them in the exchange, people borrow from that and pay you an interest rate. As long as you don't pull those coins out, because you can't pull those coins out for periods, then you will earn the interest. Now, I have invested in some crypto. There are a few coins that I've purchased. I have a bit of Bitcoin, obviously, and Ethereum and a couple others. It's a little harder in Canada. The Canadian exchanges have very few. The American exchanges never seem to recognize where Canada is. I know that sounds dumb, and I could use a credit card like American Express, which I'm sure they'd be thrilled with, to open the accounts, because when you open the accounts for crypto, you have to give them a fair amount of information. It's not like it's all anonymous. The transactions are, but because of the decentralized nature of it. But they know, like, when you purchase them, you have to give them your financial information because everybody pays tax. So, and that's the one thing, you pay your tax and you should be fine. It's like if you don't speed, you should be fine. Then again, the American exchanges and the American exchange companies don't. It's a weird thing. When I used to order stuff a few years back, before Amazon, whenever we'd have to order something for delivery or order something from the States, you'd have to pretend that we had a zip code, and we don't have zip codes in Canada. We have postal codes, and a postal code is 3 letters and 3 numbers. So it works out really good for Christmas, because the postal code for Santa Claus at the North Pole is ho ho ho, HOHOHO. So it's a letter, number, letter, number, letter, number. And it's like that across Canada. So it's a letter, number, letter, number, letter, number. But in the States, it's a zip code, which is 5 numbers. So, of course, being a Canadian, we would have to say, well, they would ask wherever you're ordering something, what is your zip code? And we can't put in a postal code, so everybody would use 90210 because it's the only one we know, the only American postal code we know, because it's the most common one. It's from a show that was on TV for years and years. Anyways, so that was our out. That was our way to, we would use that as a postal code. We'd order our whatever we're ordering. And that's fine. We don't order a lot of stuff from the States anyways, because we make most of the stuff ourselves. We're a production kind of country. We have, large industrial centers. Anyways, the point was, with the cryptocurrency, it's actually a little more difficult to purchase cryptocurrencies when you're in Canada because um, not all the exchanges recognize easily Canadian addresses or Canadian um, citizens. And it's just a thing. It's always been a thing with Americans because they kind of assume we live in igloos, which is funny because Alaska's farther north than us and Alaska's American. And they seem to see Alaska, but they miss Canada completely. And it's not a bad thing. I don't care. Actually, on my website, when it asks for my address, and it says right on the website, third igloo from the left, Canada, because it's a play on words. I'm just saying that, it doesn't really matter where I am in Canada, third igloo from the left. I'm actually in the first igloo on the left. I'm all the way on the farthest end of BC. And the coolest thing about where I am is that we have like tropical weather where I live. It literally, it almost never snows where I live. We've gone 2 years without any snow. And then all of a sudden it'll sort of snow a week before Christmas, and then it's green grass. And then 2 or 3 or 4 weeks after Christmas, it'll snow for a day or two. And then every once in a while we'll get like this big blizzard where it snows and it's like 6-foot drifts, but it snows once every 4 years, once every 3 years here. But to be fair, right across Canada, especially in the prairies, it snows. And I mean, it snows. It's like polar bear skidding across your front yard kind of snow. And it's kind of crazy. But I'm going off topic here, which I do. I don't want to get back on this cryptocurrency thing. So I keep hearing these discussions about why cryptocurrency is not a valid form of finance, whereas I believe it is. But the arguments that they have, or the discussions that they have, is about Bitcoin itself, and Bitcoin itself is sort of a standalone cryptocurrency because it's the most secure blockchain, and a blockchain is a type of accounting, right? It's like a ledger, and it's the most secure. It's never been hacked. I don't think it'll ever get hacked. So everything that happens on there gets validated, and it's almost impossible to change that, so it's impossible to hack. Not fully impossible, but within reason. You'd have to go back and change all the ledgers before that to get to the one ledger you're on, make a change, be, highly difficult. You'd have to have more than 51% consensus. So anyways, now the argument that they have is that, especially with people like Peter Schiff, is that cryptocurrencies, and he refers to Bitcoin, is speculative. It's not a financial asset. It's a speculative bet. Everything is a speculative bet. The dollar, gold and silver, they can be made illegal. It's happened before. But the problem I find with those discussions is that they're not separating blockchain from cryptocurrency. Blockchain is fantastic. It's a great system for creating stable currency because of the way it's created. There's also Hedera hash graph, which is sort of done in a different way. It's not a singular line of ledgers. It's a broad root system of ledgers that can be much broader. Anyways, completely different conversation. So when they have these conversations, they'd never separate that from the other. So yes, Bitcoin can be considered a speculative asset, but it's probably a speculative asset in the sense that it makes as much sense as gold. But the difference that they don't look at, and the what makes gold different than cryptocurrency from my point of view, from what I can see, is if you take a thought experiment like Einstein used to do, and you would say, imagine two people standing in a store, and they're at the counter, and there's there's food lineups or whatever. They're at the counter and they want to buy bread for their family. And one guy has cryptocurrency and the other guy has gold or silver. But the guy at the store, right, he doesn't have a computer there. He just has a cash register, the old school cash register. And he's got bread. So they both ask for bread. The baker says, yeah, sure. He brings out the bread. The guy with the cryptocurrency grabs his cell phone. And the cashier says, I can't take cryptocurrency because I don't have internet. And it's not like this wouldn't happen. In a major crash, in an extreme breakdown of the system, this would actually happen a lot. There'll be a lot of suppliers, or small suppliers, like small local suppliers, who are working on a shoestring, who have eggs and milk, and because they're small farmers and stuff. They don't work in cryptocurrencies. They don't have it themselves. They don't have ledgers. They don't have any way of taking cryptocurrency payments. But you need the bread and the eggs and the milk. They can't take crypto, but they will take gold and silver. Because if I was selling bread and I was selling eggs or milk, and somebody came to me with a gold coin or a silver coin, I would take that. Because for 6,000 years, it's been money. Whether it's money at the moment, whether it's illegal at the moment, sort of irrelevant. Because when it's legal again, or at any other country in the world that takes it, and takes it higher than face value, or bid or ask price, what's considered the market value, it would still have a tangible value for me, irregardless if I can make jewelry out of it, or if I can use it to fill my teeth and it'll never rust or rot, or if I can use it for electronics. That's irrelevant. What I can't do is I can't deal with the cryptocurrency because I have no way of utilizing that form of payment. Just like I would not want to take the Canadian dollar or the American dollar or whatever other currency you have, because those are nosediving, because this is a crisis. So what would I take? I could take currency if you had enough currency, that whole wheelbarrow to buy a loaf of bread thing. That's fine, bring me a wheelbarrow. We'll deal with it. I would take gold and silver because they've been currency for a very, very long time, and people around the world still use gold and silver to transact. They just don't carry it with them. They used to, up until 1700s. So just because it's been out of favor for 200 years doesn't mean it's gone away. If most of the large banks and that have been hoarding it to at some time in the future back some sort of currency at 40 to 1 or whatever, then it has a tangible validity to it. It has some sort of asset value. Cryptocurrency, although it's being utilized by millions, it's not across the board. And it could be across the board. Let's say it's across the board and everybody's using it. But if this one store or this one farmer doesn't have the ability to take cryptocurrency, then the gold is going to win. The silver is going to win. So that's the one use case, in which case it's a possibility, and it's a good possibility, especially in places like Argentina and stuff, where not every store owner or every farmer has cryptocurrency, but they'll take gold and silver. India, China is probably going to end up like that. And unfortunately, what's happening in the States right now, that could be a thing too. So like I say, I have cryptocurrency. I think it's a great technology. I think it's a great hedge against inflation because it's deflationary by nature. But at the same time, yes, we're still mining for gold. Yes, we're still getting gold out of the ground. It's expensive and it's hard to do. and there's lots of gold in the ground still. And sure, we could mine asteroids if they have gold. It's a guess. I doubt there's any on the moon. Who knows? Could be a whole planet made of gold, or a whole planet made of garden or diamonds or whatever. It's all a possibility. Cost-wise, doesn't make any sense yet. But go Elon Musk. You're doing a great job. It's just one of those things where if I want to hedge my bets, where would I hedge my bets? If it was a guess about gold and silver over cryptocurrency, it's a pretty tight race, but I think gold still has a slight hedge over that, simply for the logistics of what might be a possible endgame usage for it. And like I say, I have it. I'm hedging it for my family, but at the same time, you just have to cover your bases, right? It shouldn't be one or the other. I think Peter Schiff should have cryptocurrency, and I think the crypto, like Modern Investor and guys, they should have gold. I just think instead of being narrow, you should be broad. If you're going to say you invest in art and you invest in real estate, then why not invest in gold? You invest in cryptocurrency. Why would you take that one off the table? Just like Peter Schiff, if you have everything else, why would you take that off the table? Why don't you just invest in everything, and then hopefully they all have their use case or their value in the end. Anyways, so I just wanted to bring that up because I was having a conversation, and this had nothing to do with it, but anyways, I was having a conversation about a emotional support lizard. So this conversation was sort of a different one, and it started off as a conversation about a cricket. So my daughter, we got her an emotional support snake, and it is a Aztec morph. So it is a corn snake. It's a species of corn snake. And then we were talking to the pet store owner who insisted there has to be a good family that this pet goes to, because it's a pet, not a piece of art. You can't just buy it, put it in a cage, take care of it somewhat, and ignore it most of the time. They want someone who's going to treat it like a pet, like a family member. So I said, well, actually, it's sort of like an emotional support snake for my daughter, because my viewpoint is that anything that would help take my daughter's mind off of all the stresses that are happening out in the world right now would be considered emotional support. So instead of stressing out about, the fact that half of the town is closed down, people are sick, she can focus on taking care of the snake and making sure that it's fed and the temperatures are right. And we had such a hard time with this 40-gallon tank. We were trying to make sure that the temperature was in a 40-gallon tank. I don't know if you've ever seen one of these things, big fish tank, but it's not a fish tank. It's a terrarium. It's a dry version, so fish without lungs, whatever. I know it'd be fish with lungs. It's 85 degrees on one side and 78 degrees on the other side, or 72 degrees on the other side. How do you do that in a small enclosed area? Well, you have heat mats and a cold thing. She did it. I mean, it's fantastic. The thing she came up with was really inventive, and she made it work, and she did a lot of studies, which showed me that she was mature enough to work this out. We got the snake, so we're getting supplies for the snake. So we got the snake home. But before we got the snake home, we were at a pet store. We were at a different pet store. And we're standing there in the aisle, and we're trying to get a hide. And a hide is just an imitation rock that the snake can go inside of and hide. Hence the term hide. Anyways, so I'm not usually a hand talker, but for these videos, nothing's moving in the background and my cat's gone, so really, whatever. And a lot of people are just staring at my blue hair. So, and it's sort of a gray blue, more of a gray. Anyways, so we're standing there and we're talking about the hide, and then I noticed that there's a cricket on the floor. And he's kind of like stands there for a minute, hop. And he's traveling in the direction away from where they kept the crickets, right? So he was escaping, slowly, but he was escaping. And I'm laughing. I said, there's a cricket on the ground, and it looks like he's trying to get away. So I'm like, Run, run, cricket. Anyways, have a bit of a laugh about that. Whatever. Nobody stepped on them, so that's good. And then we're going to go up the aisle a little bit, and we're looking at the skinny pigs. And now the skinny pigs, that's another story, because really I thought there was guinea pigs. I didn't know there was anything called a skinny pig. I used to joke, oh, I got to get my son a couple skinny pigs. And somebody says, you actually want skinny pigs? And I was like, that's a thing? Yeah, it's a naked or a hairless guinea pig is a skinny pig. And it looks like one of those Egyptian cats, but like with a height challenge. Anyways, it's a guinea pig without hair. And if you look at it, the head looks like a rabbit. It's really strange. Not that they're not cute. They're fantastically cute little things, sort of like a corn snake is cute when you look at it. You go, it's nice. Standing at the other end of the aisle, we're looking at the cages. There's another cricket. I'm going, that can't be the same cricket. And it's not like I was looking at him going, oh, it's one cricket over another cricket. It's a cricket. Thinking there must have been a bunch of crickets got away. And I'm laughing and I'm saying, there's another cricket. It's a jailbreak, right? It's a cricket jailbreak. So anyways, so we go out to the cash register and we're standing there and the people in front of us are chatting away. And my daughter and I are chatting away and I said, that's where they came from, because they were at this center where they had live bait, crickets and bloodworms and all this sort of stuff. I don't think they had bloodworms, but they had worms and all this other stuff, right? And caterpillars and just live food for the reptiles. And sure enough, they had crickets in this little container, and I thought, I guess they don't count them. They're going to count them. They're going to one Sharpie, two. They got a Sharpie, and they're like putting 3 and 4. Anyways, so I don't think this is a thing. But anyway, some of the crickets got away. And I thought that was really funny. But the conversation originally started at the fact that, yes, there is such a thing as an emotional support snake. I think we can probably draw the line at emotional support crickets. That's where I would probably say, if you come onto an airplane with a bag and a cricket, and you say it's your emotional support cricket, I would probably say, are you certain that this is an emotional support cricket? Or, those people in certain countries that deep fry tarantulas and they just eat them like that? This looks more like a carry-on bag where you like open bag, eat nuts, that sort of thing. Anyways, so the last thing I wanted to talk about, and because I was going through some notes here, was the emotional support cricket, the crypto in a store. And I wanted to talk about a couple of things because somebody was saying that right now BC Air and a couple other large aviation companies would be a good purchase, a good buy for stock. Apple was doing a 4-to-1 split. Do you purchase Apple now at $400 and wait for it to go down to $100 a share when it does the 4-to-1 split? The theory is that it doesn't change the value of the stock. True, but if they have more shares and there's $100 now, more people will buy in, bringing up the price of the shares. At $400, less people can afford to buy. At $100 a share, more people will be able to buy. So when they do the 4-to-1 split, and you go ahead and buy a share, and you get 4 shares for that, but they're down to $100 a share, that value is going to rise quicker than if you had left it at the $400 share. So from what I understand, getting it now and waiting for the 4-to-1 split, or just buying it when it does the 4-to-1 split and they go to $100 a share, you'll end up with a better bet and a better chance that is going to go up in value. Sort of like buying oil stocks, because oil's never going to go anywhere. It's going to be around for years and years. And sort of like energy farming and rental incomes. When people are losing their homes, they're going to need to rent places. So if you get into REIT, REIT ETFs, once again, probably a fair risk for investment. Anyways, that's sort of all I wanted to go on, and hopefully you guys have a great evening. Stay safe, and we'll talk to you again in the next, probably tomorrow. Have a good night.